If you have a prayer book, join us on page 13, or if you know the song, just sing along with us. Shalom Aleichem on page 13.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Machem Leshalom, Malachei Yashalom, Malachei Elyon, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש, ברוך הוא, ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש, ברוך הוא. צאתם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש, ברוך הוא. Together.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. So glad you could join us to celebrate Shabbat. And also, there's another celebration going on, a big mazel tov to the Yocum Surfas family, who are celebrating Millie becoming bat mitzvah during this Shabbat service, and also the next Shabbat service, which is tomorrow. So we're glad you're here tonight. You can see both shows. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start as we typically do, even as the light is decreasing outside, the noise, the singing is increasing inside. And please, this is a singing community no matter what. So wherever you are, even if you're automatically muted, let your song out and let it fill the room that you're in, and we will feel it, even if we can't hear it. Maybe we'll even hear it if you sing loud enough. So as this noise is coming up, we are also increasing the light in our lives just as Shabbat does. And how we mark that is with the lighting of candles. And so Wendy and Bailey Lekovich are going to be lighting the Shabbat candles this evening. So let's spotlight them for a moment while they do that. And then on their behalf, the family, Patrice and Millie, are going to be saying the blessing. So let's light the candles first, and then we'll do the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and Mazel Tov to the family once again. we are going to begin to, let's say, ascend the ladder of Kabbalat Shabbat. We have a number of songs that bring us from this, let's say, everyday weekday level to the higher spiritual level of Shabbat. And we begin that with the first psalm of Kabbalat Shabbat, page 15, if you have a prayer book. If you don't have a prayer book, it so happens you can download it from the chat. But on page 15, there's this great psalm, Lechuna Ranana. Let's get out there and sing. Lechuna Ranana, page 15.
Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, lekama fana benota. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, bizmirov narialo. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Ki Adonai, Adonai, ומלך אדון על כל אלוהים. ונשתחווה. 40 שנה הקודדון פאומר עם טועי לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי.
Page 16, 16.
יא יא ליי ליי יא ליי 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 היי יא ליי ליי יא ליי 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 היי יא ליי ליי יא ליי 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 היי יא ליי ליי יא ליי ספרו בגויים כבודו לכל העמים נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא על כל אלוהים יאיר הלילה הלילה הלילה
These psalms that were selected for Kabbalat Shabbat a few hundred years ago, and the Kabbalists of Sfat put them together to help raise us into this spirit of peace and Shabbat. We're mostly from the Psalms, or in fact, almost exclusively, this part of the service is from the book of Psalms, an anthology of poems by King David. Except for this one notable exception, Lecha Dodi was an original composition by Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz in the 16th century in Sfat. And you even sort of signed it. If you look at the beginning of the stanzas of Lecha Dodi on page 21, it's a Shamor Likra. It spells out Shlomo Halevi. So if you want to get famous, write a beautiful song for Kabbalat Shabbat. But this is not about him. It's about Shabbat and seeing Shabbat as an honored guest that we welcome into our homes, like a bride at a wedding or royalty into our presence. And we say to this royalty, not in a distant and formal way, but in a loving and intimate way, Lecha Dodi, come my beloved. Lecha Dodi is on page 21, page 21.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 bnei Shabbat. Nekavela Shamor vezachor bedibur echad Hishmianu elam meyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad Leshem u'letiferet ve'litehila Shabbat nekavela likrat kala yaralai 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 Shabbat nekavela mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzei mitoch ha'afecha rav לשבת בעמק הבכה המול עלייך חמלה התנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי קורבן נפשי גאלה אוהלך דודי לקראת ירלה 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 Shabbat, nekavla elecha dodi likrat kala yaralai 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 Shabbat, nekavla hitoreri לא תבושי ולא תקלמי ומה תשתוכחי ומה תמי בך יחסו אני ימי ונבנתה עיר אל תלאה היו לי בשיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל נברייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן אל תעלה לך גודי לקראת כלה בעיני שבת יקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בין פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת יקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום התמת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת יקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
If you're standing, you may be seated. If we have one more psalm for celebrating Kabbalat Shabbat before we get into some serious praying. That's going to be Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat. It's a special psalm just for Shabbat that's in the prayer book on page 23. And I would like to invite Sandy Beery, who has the honor of reading this psalm for us on page 23. Do we have a Sandy Beery present? All right. In that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be the agent for Sandy Beery, who has the honor of sharing this psalm with you, and I'm happy to do it on Sandy's behalf. On page 23, a song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast your works, Adonai, your designs are beyond our grasp. The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever. Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble, but me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers. The righteous shall flourish like palm trees. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the court of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant, to proclaim Adonai is just, my rock, in whom there is no flaw. We're going to sing the words in Hebrew of this song as well on the facing page 23, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat.
Let's join together, top of the page. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי דיון לכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם ומחשבותיך. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם ומחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us at PJTC. It is now incumbent upon me to ask a certain question, and that is, Millie, would you like to give the drasha tonight, or would you rather wait until tomorrow?
I'll wait till tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's a ritual we have at PJTC. It's always the bat mitzvah's prerogative, but I'm happy to do it because she's got quite enough to do. So I want to ask a question that is that rises from the very beginning of this week's Parsha. We are in Parshat Noach, and I will tell you that Millie has a fantastic Devar Torah to share with you tomorrow. I'm one of the few who has heard it, perhaps including her parents. I don't know if she's shared it with her parents yet, but maybe it's a surprise. And somebody, one of our davening team asks, are there any surprises in tonight's services? And I said, if I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise. But this is a line that's been visited before, and so I'm going to visit it again. In the very beginning of this week's Parsha, Parshat Noach, it says, Elo Todot Noach, this is the story of Noach. Noach ish tzaddik, tamim haya bedorotav. Noah was a righteous man, considered flawless in his generation. And the question that is raised by the Midrash, by some rabbis in our tradition, a couple of thousand years ago, give or take a few hundred years, sort of these were sermons that were being given at the time that the Mishnah was being put together, that the oral Torah was by necessity being written down. And they had this debate. This phrase, Ish Tzaddik, Tamim Hayabadorotav, he was a righteous man, flawless in his generation. Was this great praise by the Torah? Or was it today what we might call damning with faint praise? On the one hand, people argue when the Torah says Noah was righteous in his generation, it means just in that generation. And I don't want to spoil the rest of the story of Noah for you, but it wasn't a nice generation. There was a reason that the rains were coming. But they said, in that generation, fine, he looked pretty good. But in the generations of Moses or the prophet Samuel, he wouldn't have really held up. And of course, there was another opinion. The other rabbis said, no, all the more so in his generation. When you are surrounded by scoundrels, how much harder is it to be a righteous person? So if he could endure what he endured and come out with his character intact, all the more so would he have been praiseworthy even in the generations of Moses and Samuel. And so this contingent nature of his righteousness raises a question that we get to keep asking. What would it be like if Noah was in our age? What would it take to be righteous in this generation? When we look at what is in the world around us that we wish rains could wash away, what would it take to rise to the surface? I think in an age where we seem to be trapped in bubbles, hearing only the voices that agree with us, a righteous person in this age would be one who broke bubbles. In an age where righteousness is more connected to anger and indignation, one would rise above by being righteous in love, by being righteous with love, by the embrace, not the righteousness of folded arms. In an age where we are, I'm going to say, incentivized to fight to the finish, to win at all costs, the one who rises above, the ones, God willing, who rise above, will be those who seek peace, regardless of personal cost. We do have many examples in our world today, I believe. One that I want to point out, of our age, if not our day, sadly, is Yitzhak Rabin. And this is maybe talking about Prime Minister Rabin a little bit early. You'll hear more about him in the coming week if you haven't already. His yahrzeit is next week on the 12th of Cheshvan, which starts at sundown on Thursday. And it's our custom here at PJTC to honor those who have passed the Shabbat before their yahrzeit. And so I thought it fitting to do this here. Yitzhak Rabin was I'll say he was the first prime minister of Israel who was actually born in the Holy Land. His parents were poor settlers from Eastern Europe. He grew up in this land of conflict and uncertainty. As a young man, he joined the Palmach, which was the predecessor of the IDF. These are the partisans who not only protected their homesteads in Israel, but went to fight in World War II as well. And when they came back, formed the IDF. He was a military man, rising to the level of general in many civil offices as well, serving as prime minister twice. And I think that in some ways it takes, maybe not. I'll say this differently. As someone who was born into a land in conflict, as someone who spent his life fighting in those conflicts, he knew, perhaps better than anyone should, the cost of war. And so in his second prime ministership, he was one of the parties responsible for brokering the Oslo peace accords and won the Nobel Prize along with another prime minister and Yasser Arafat for that effort. But that was not his only consequence. 25 years ago this year, he was assassinated for his efforts, not by an historical enemy, but by someone who believed they were doing the right thing to preserve Israel, Yigal Amir, someone who thought that peace did not serve our safety in the land, and murdered Yitzhak Rabin. And I have to think that in this age that does more to encourage the likes of Yigal Amir than it does to raise Yitzhak Rabin's, in an age of Amirs, be Rabin. If you want to know what it takes to be a righteous person in our generation, despite our generation, in an age of Amirs, be Rabin. And your legacy will endure. Your name will endure. More importantly, peace will endure, even as it did in the age of Shmuel, of Moshe, of Noah. And God willing, before our age is out. And your story will be a part of our eternal family story. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you once again for joining us at PJTC. We're now going to move into the second part of our service, that is the evening prayer service of Mariv. It begins with the Baruch Hu on page 28, and for this call to prayer, I ask you to please rise if you're able.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Turn around.
Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai sevot shemo, El Chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu, le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Hama'ariv aravim.
Amen.
You may be seated as we continue on page 29. Having blessed God for the light in our lives, we bless God for God's constant love. Ahavat Olam on page 29.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך לתסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. We continue with Millie, with the
Page
Shema,
30.
the next page.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue the second passage of the Shema on the bottom of page 30 at your own pace, and we'll get back together in just a moment. We continue at the top of page 31, page 31.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת אליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה להם לציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניהם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 32, page 32.
Let's continue together in the middle of the page with Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai,
Mi Chamocha neder b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osef eleh, Nora tehilot, osef eleh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osef eleh, Nora tehilot, osef eleh. V'lechutecha ra'u anecha, בוקר היום לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, אנו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונברך יפדה בני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
On page 33, we go back to the chapel for Patrice Yocum to lead us in Hashkivenu.
Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler, guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people, Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Amen.
Amen.
We continue on page 34, page 34.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ביני ואל מלא ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל שבת, לעשות את השבת ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לשמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue in the middle of page 34 as Millie leads us in the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadal vayikada shemei rabba. V'alma divra kirte, v'amlich malhute, v'chayechon uvyom echon, uvchayedecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, v'imeru.
אמן. יהי שמרה במבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך.
Yitbara ve'ishtaba, vitpa'ar v'tronam vitnaseh, vitadar vitale vitalo, shemei dekudesha,
בריחו
le'ela min kol berhata, v'shirata, tushbehata v'nechemata, damiram be'ama, ve'imeru.
אמן.
We ask you to please rise with us as we continue with the Amidah for Shabbat evening on page 35b. This is a moment of private meditation. You can start with the words that are on the page on page 35b, and feel free to add whatever prayer is the prayer of your heart this evening. And when we are done praying, you may be seated and we'll get back together in just a couple of moments.
He הגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אמן. Together. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמן, אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל, amen.
We're getting close to the end of the service, but not without some honor to the family, Greg and Barbara Surfas. Are Greg and Barbara Surfas on Zoom somewhere that we can highlight them? If not, I'll just make sure to name them. There they are. Excellent. Great to see you, Greg and Barbara Surfas, who have the honor of opening the Ark for Aleinu, which I'm going to ask Millie to do as your capable agent. Millie's going to open the Ark in honor of Greg and Barbara Surfas for Aleinu. Everybody else, please rise. We're on page 51. Page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים. על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מיניו תפארת עוזך. כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
As Millie closes the Ark on behalf of Greg and Barbara, you may all be seated. There comes a time in our service where even as we gather together in joy, we are perhaps most acutely reminded of those who are no longer with us. And it's at this moment that we honor those who have passed, and specifically those who were marking their Yahrzeit in the coming week. This coming week in our community, we're marking the anniversary of the passing of Alida Ultan, Benedetto Mascoli, Benjamin Eisenberg, Berta Sabursky, Betty Cohen, Shaka Kozushner, Charles Israel Baker, Charles Levander, Charles Ruben Todd, David Padlipsky, Dora Goldsmith, Dorothy Patrick, Esther Mendelson, Eugene Roberts, Gerson Horrence, Howard Cromers, Kenneth Harris, Linda Paul, Lois McCoyne, Marlene Mann, Marvin Gross, Michael Breen, Minnie Weissman, Morris Rothenberg, Norman Soretsky, Norman Sidney Feiner, Philip Schulman, Sadie Goldman, Sam Goss, Samuel Greiner, and coming again this Thursday, the 12th of Cheshvan, now known as Yom Rabin, Yitzhak Rabin. I'll ask anyone who is observing a Yahrzeit or is currently in mourning to please rise for the Mourner's Kaddish. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 52. Let's say it together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. As it says in Kohelet in the book of Ecclesiastes, there is a time for mourning and there is also a time for joy. And we are celebrating with joy a certain person reaching what you could dryly describe as Jewish legal majority, but I think the words bat mitzvah sound a lot more festive than that. And on this festive occasion, we are bestowing upon her gifts. Millie, do you have the gifts there with you? Let's spotlight Millie so we can see the goodie bag. All right. You have not only do you have gifts, you have a number of people who have been waiting patiently to bestow these gifts upon you. So they're wherever the gifts are by you, but they're wherever they are. And I'd like to first call on Leah Laska, who is going to be presenting the USY, our youth group's gift to you.
Hi, Millie. I'm Leah. I'm the president of our synagogue's chapter for USY, and I'm here to present to you your B'Kol Echad. A B'Kol Echad is a songbook used for both Sloach and Ruach at USY regional events. Sloach, or slow Ruach, can be described as calm and reflective, whereas Ruach is filled with a bunch of energy. Hopefully, you will get to experience one of these regional events because they definitely serve as a reminder of the community that we have. I also have a feeling that you would enjoy the music aspect of them because I know that you're an amazing singer. I also really enjoy music and singing, especially during Sloach and at synagogue on the davening team. I think that this would be great for you because it's an opportunity to just sing and feel connected to music. I hope you have a great time tomorrow, and I know you're going to do great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. I'd now like to turn it over to Nancy Carlton, our sisterhood president, to present on behalf of the PJTC Sisterhood.
It took me a while to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Millie, within every celebrated ending, a new opportunity beckons. On behalf of the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center Sisterhood, I am pleased to present you with a gift of a Kiddush cup. As you sip from this Kiddush cup on Shabbat and Jewish holidays, let it be a reminder of your accomplishments in reaching this very special occasion. And may this gift be a reminder that within every ending, there lies a new beginning that beckons us to reach out and explore. May you continue to explore your Jewish values and heritage from this day forward. Congratulations from your sisterhood.
Thank you.
Excellent. It's now my honor to call upon Ira Blitz, who has a few words to say on behalf of the PJTC Men's Club.
Hi, Millie. It was a pleasure to hear you today and to hear your beautiful voice. I congratulate you on behalf of Men's Club. I was also pleased to learn about your plans to join with friends to entertain middle school students with disabilities. I think that's wonderful. I know that your parents are proud of you. As you know, I'm representing Men's Club today, whose mission it is to support the youth programs in our community, including B'nai Simcha, the Louis B. Silver Religious School, USY, and the Federation Youth Orchestra. Tonight, I have the pleasure and honor of presenting you virtually with the beautiful Yad on behalf of Men's Club. The Yad protects the Torah and adds to the spirituality during its reading. Tomorrow, you have the mitzvah of using this Yad to read the Torah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yishkoyach. It is now my honor to present on behalf of Rabbi Amy. Rabbi Amy shared some words for me to pass on in her stead. So this is not me talking. This is Rabbi Amy Gerasi talking. Millie, on behalf of the Religious School Committee, I want to wish you and your family a huge mazel tov as you become bat mitzvah. Just as you've prepared for countless roles and shows, you've diligently prepared for this moment. I know that part of the preparation has included thinking about what it means to be a Jewish adult in your community. Without giving too much of the content of your Devar Torah away, I did share it with her. I want you to know that one of the most important parts of being in a Jewish community means being an adult that people can count on. Counted on for support when times are challenging, counted on to question the establishment when norms are needed to be shaken up, and counted on to celebrate when there are things to be honored. Our community is thrilled to have you as a member we can count on. Mazel tov. And this is to present a wonderful bar or bat mitzvah in this case certificate. As you can see, it's suitable for framing because we've already framed it. So to show that to everybody, that's a reminder of your achievement that will hang in every place that you live from now and forever. So with that, I have a few community announcements, as few as possible, in fact, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this community that you deserve to know about. First off, Mazel Tov on behalf of Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center to the Yocum Surfas family on the bat mitzvah of Millicent Yocum Surfas this weekend. And I do mean this weekend. It's not just tonight, y'all. You should come back tomorrow at 9:30 for our Shabbat service then, and then you will hear this wonderful Devar Torah that we've all been talking about. You should also know that in the coming week, we have a few different things going on. On Monday night, we have a temple board meeting that everyone is invited to. The temple board meeting is on Monday at 7:30 p.m. On Tuesday, our social hall events are now on Tuesday. We have the featured speaker, Dr. Bonnie Barati, expert on the formation of planetary systems, speaks on reconciling faith and science. And Bonnie will be sharing with us some of her thoughts on faith and science and leading what should be a lively discussion on the topic. You should know that the Melton Member of the Tribe, class number 3 of a 6-session class taught by our own Rabbi John Carrier, well, it's on the page there, will be on this Thursday. That's at 7:30. And I hate to break it to you, Thanksgiving is coming. So stay tuned for upcoming Thanksgiving opportunities to connect here. There's going to be an interfaith service that we're participating in, as well as a wonderful small group conversation series opportunity for people to get together, get to know each other, and share what's on their heart. And so stay tuned for that. These and all other wonderful things that are happening at PJTC are fully linked up in emails that you get. So please read them. With that, we have our usual things going on. Just read your emails. You'll get the links to all the great stuff that's going on here at PJTC. And just know that wherever you are joining us from, you are in the right place. With that, I would like us to end the way we began, and that is in joyous song. And it sounds better if you're singing standing up. So please join us if you know this one. Wherever you're singing, sing out loud, and we will feel it.
Let's join together.
Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom.
Odivo shalom aleinu,
Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam.
salam
Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos, everybody. If you'll hang out with us for just a little bit longer, we are going to make Kiddush. We're going to sanctify the Sabbath day with wine or suitable wine substitutes and bread. And we're going to be joined by, it's going to be me and Cantor Ruth and the Yocum Surfas family in the chapel. If any of you have the accoutrement for Kiddush, a celebratory beverage or some bread that you want to join us with this home, please feel free to do so. It'll be like a Zoom potluck, if you will. So everybody get ready for Kiddush, starting with the yain.
That's right. I'm going to wait until
Let's make sure the family in the chapel
they
gets cups.
have everything. I see they have the challah. Do you have the kos? I can't see. Hopefully they do. Yeah, thank you, Sean, for showing it. Let's join together. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Together. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
All right. Anybody who wants to wash your hands at home is free to do so, or I'll be thinking about you while I do it, and that's the same thing. So 1 second here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. And as we continue with the motzi, I'm going to ask,
We're going to join the family in the chapel.
correct, that one? There you go. Do we have the challah ready? Yes, we do. Okay, let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. You take a piece and enjoy the challah, and I will come back right there to have a little bit of challah myself. B'te'avon. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at PJTC. If you're watching us from YouTube or Facebook or StreamSpot, we really appreciate your being here. We're going to turn off the live stream now. Anybody who's in Zoom,